To Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by the Hard Truth Distilling Company in Brown County, Indiana.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Time! 3 on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game! Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni! Float game for the win! Ayler's gone! Goodbye, touchdown, Indy! Woo! I-U! America! They got a football team now!
Pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop. Oh.
Now, from the Hard Truth Studios, here's Jim Coyle.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you on this Thursday from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios. Glad to have you along, no matter how, where you're listening on one of our great affiliates like 97.7 ESPN The Ref, always the right call in Evansville, or up in the region on 1230 AM, 104.7 FM, WJOB, the voice of the region, and in Fort Wayne on Fort Wayne's only sports station, 1380 The Fan. Just keep it locked right here for great content throughout the day. And we've got plenty to get to on the program. Indiana last night goes up to Northwestern, picks up another loss. We'll be talking about that, of course. Coach Shannon Griffith will be with us. We'll talk some IU football. Bob Kravitz, I'm sure he's going to have thoughts on the IU basketball situation. We'll just talk Big Ten in general. Chris Denari at some point will be with us. So we've got all kinds of things to get to. But, of course, last night, Indiana in Evanston, Illinois, looking for a road win, which are always tough in the Big Ten, but they were coming off of one at Ohio State. And not going to say that this was a must win, but it was probably a must win. Let's be honest. They after Indiana comes back home to take on a Maryland team, following that, they have 5 of 6 games against ranked teams. So it will not get easier. Northwestern, not one of those. Northwestern, a team that is toward the bottom of the Big Ten standings, and a team that is trying to climb out of the bottom, which I don't see them winding up in the bottom. They're too good of a team, one would imagine. Not the greatest, but they have enough pieces that can go out and play the right way. Unlike an Indiana team, like yesterday, we read from the Seth Davis article that just backed up what we talk about a lot. This is it's a team of misfits. I'm sorry, but you've got guys playing positions they're not. Trey Galloway's not a point guard. Malik Renew, not a 4. And so they've got all kinds of issues. But what are you going to do? Right now, in looking across at this, well, that's the football standing, so that's not going to help us much. But Michigan State, still undefeated to my knowledge, unless things happened last night. Trying to get that pulled up very quickly. Coach Shannon Griffith is going to have some football for us. We'll just get you caught up on what's going on. We'll wrap up the season as the college football championship wrapped up this week, of course, with the Ohio State Buckeyes bringing the Big Ten another national title, back-to-back titles. Right now, basketball standings-wise, Michigan State still undefeated, 7-0 at the top. Michigan, Dusty May, 6-1, sitting in second. Purdue and Oregon, Wisconsin, Illinois. Then there's an Indiana team sitting at 5-4 that just lost to the now 3-5 Northwestern team that is still towards the bottom of the conference. It's going to be pretty embarrassing for Indiana because they're going to enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think that Indiana finishes definitely outside the top 10 of the conference. And that's staggeringly, embarrassingly, that's just should be the biggest embarrassment on the planet. You've got a $5 million roster. You have, in essence, money-wise, spent what Ohio State spent on football. But the return ain't the same. Not by a long shot. But that's the difference in getting the pieces you need instead of the pieces you want. This is just not a good team. The talent that I'm not sure what has happened to Kane and Carlisle. Came in with a lot of high accolades and not happening. Just not happening. Last night, of course, a big second half. Indiana was in that game. It was a back and forth game. They played very well in the first half, as a matter of fact. But that second half was a completely different story as they allowed Northwestern to just go off, especially from behind the 3-point line. And they whipped them. They whipped the Hoosiers. Brooks Braunheiser, man, he had a dunk to seal the game at the end of the game, literally at the end, breakaway dunk, and his feet kind of carried him through the dunk as he's hanging onto the rim, and his hand slipped off of the rim. Face plants on the floor, immediately starts bleeding. Cracked his nose. I wonder if he broke it. He gave the thumbs up as he's sitting on his butt, but immediately the blood started running down his face, and he realized that, yeah, this is a little bit more than I thought. How about Houston last night? 70-36 over Utah. That's defense and a lot of offense. At the half, they were up 41-17. Man. Number 5, Florida gets a 70-69 squeaker over South Carolina. 10-9 and 0-6 South Carolina. So things tight there. Number 12, Kansas with a 74-61 win over TCU. Texas A&M gets by Ole Miss. Number 13, Texas A&M goes to Oxford and upsets the Rebels. Boy, that's a tough one for Chris Beard, but they're both 15-4 and 4-2 in the SEC. And then St. John's and Rick Pitino hold on and beat Xavier 79-71 in OT last night. Other USC. How about USC? They have gone on a tear since losing at Indiana. They've gone to Illinois and won. They've gone to Iowa and won, I think. And now they've gone to Nebraska and won. USC is 12-7 and 4-4. They're inching closer. They're a surprise. They've done a hell of a job. Hey, let's take our first break from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios. Coach Shannon Griffith, he's in the green room ready to go. We'll hear from Mike Woodson later as well. Some of his comments. They're going to sound very familiar. A lot of you got to get them better, and what's some of the others? I don't know. Wish I knew. A lot of that deep stuff. That deep coaching stuff. We'll be back with more from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios right after this break.
At Ben Davis Chevrolet and Ben Davis Ford in Auburn, we're your one-stop shop for all of your automotive needs. We have the area's best selection of over 300 vehicles, including new cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. Plus a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles in stock. And if we don't have what you're looking for, we'll find it for you. We also have top-of-the-line service and parts, plus a collision repair center, and we're competitively priced on everything. For sales, service, collision, parts, and more, we do it all. Come see us today or visit us online at BenDavisChevrolet.com and BenDavisFord.com.
Enjoy healthy, delicious meals at home without the hassle with the Fresh Fork. Chef-curated, ready-made meals delivered right to your doorstep. Proudly fueling IU athletes and now available to you with a menu that's always fresh and diverse, from hearty proteins to fresh salads. The Fresh Fork empowers you to make better food choices without compromising. Let the Fresh Fork help transform your lifestyle for a healthier way of living today at thefreshforkonline.com. Use promo code RADIO20 and get $20 off your first order.
Country living is just a swing away. It can be hard to find the exact home that fits your family's needs, so there couldn't be a better time to build a new home with Property Shore Construction. Now building exclusively south of Bloomington within the Stonecrest Golf community. Choose from one of the gorgeous Stonecrest Signature Series house plans. We have several lots available with scenic views of the golf course. Contact Amy Rhoda with Revesco Real Estate for additional information. 812-583-0919 or go to mystonecrestliving.com.
Ugly Grouper, located on beautiful Anna Maria in Florida, is the place to be, and not just because they have unforgettable meals, including locally sourced seafood. The Ugly Grouper has your favorite craft beers and cocktails, along with live music every day. The Ugly Grouper is family-friendly, able to host private parties, and has the biggest grouper you've ever seen. The Ugly Grouper is the place to be on Anna Maria Island, Florida. Tell them Indiana Sports Beat sent you. Go to theuglygrouper.com for more information. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth's sour mash bourbons, sweet mash, and hard road ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum, Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Thursday. Glad to have you along. Hope you're doing well. I've been outside. It's not as bad as it seems. Coach Shannon Griffith joins us on the program today, as he does each and every week. Make sure you are following him and who's your tailgate as well, so you can get some additional information from him. How's it going, brother? Oh, you're muted there on your end, it looks like. Yep, still no sound from Shannon, but there we go.
Does that?
Well, you're kind of jumping in and out, but
how's that?
Works. That's great. Just peachy, baby.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I've had technical glitches going on for the last week with my internet, and it's messed everything up here at home. So it's been fun, but as long as you can hear me, that's all I care about.
That's it, baby. That's all that matters. The CFP wrapped up this week, of course. Monday night, Ohio State took care of business. A game that they dominated, I guess you'd say, but it wasn't a blowout. It wasn't a horrible game. Notre Dame kept it close enough. Was Notre Dame, and I'm just curious. Was Notre Dame the second best team? Who was the second best team, in your opinion?
You know, I thought Penn State going into it was playing some of their best football as well at the time that they came out of the Big Ten championship game. and what they had
Speaking
done.
of which, not to interrupt you, let me, before I forget, tomorrow on the program, new Clemson defensive coordinator Tom Allen will be joining us. Former Indiana head coach, former Penn State defensive coordinator. Yep, we're on it, baby.
Well, that was a little bit of a shock as well, but they paid him $6 million over, I think, 3 years, so he's a $2 million man.
Who's that?
Tom. Yeah, I highly respect Tom Allen. I mean, Tom
has no money issues.
No, none
whatsoever.
But I was a little surprised that he left Penn State to go to Clemson. From the standpoint, Clemson is not, I don't know if they can get back to, but anyway.
This has less to do about football, I think, than about family. His daughters live in the Carolinas. It offered the opportunity there was another position open, so he was able to bring his son, Thomas, who played for him here at Indiana, but is also in the coaching fraternity. So it all came together. And so and I'll be honest with you, probably, I hate to say a little less pressure, but if I'm thinking about James Franklin and Dabo Swinney, yeah, I'm probably going to rather, and I don't know either of them, but just from the outside, I'm probably going to take a stab and think I'd rather work for Dabo.
Yeah. You want a quick football story?
Absolutely, because Dabo gave Tom permission to do this. You don't normally see coordinators doing interviews.
Yeah, right. Dabo's a little bit more, I guess you would say, lenient in that regard. But Dabo Swinney and I actually crossed paths. We had been fired at Ball State looking for a job. We had played Clemson that year, and I think it was Tommy Bowden at the time was the head coach there. But to make a long story short, Dabo Swinney, who at the time was real estate broker in Alabama, and Tommy decided I called Tommy. He called me back, which I was shocked. And we had a long discussion. And bottom line was, he said, I'm going to hire this boy that played for us at Alabama, Dabo. I said, he goes, if things fall through, then we'll talk. Because I like the way your position group played against us here at Clemson, and I would love to have an opportunity to talk to you if things don't fit with Dabo. Well, history's made. He's now the head coach, making a lot of money at Clemson, and I was still sitting on the sidelines, hoping and praying he would say no to the job.
I bet.
But anyway, but it's a great job for Dabo. I mean, Tom Allen and Dabo probably meet in a lot of different ways, both philosophically and, like you said, family life and things of that nature. So I'm happy for Tom. He's a good man, and I know that he'll do a great job there at Clemson. But okay, the college football playoffs, what can you say? It gave us everything we wanted and hoped for. Is there tweaks that need to be made? I'm most certainly. We saw some of the already AP top 25 comes out. They had Indiana at number 10. And then it's funny because other publications and stuff don't even have Indiana in the top 10. So you can see already that the disdain for what Indiana was able to accomplish and blow up some of the thought process of who was going to be in the playoffs is already being shown by some media types out there.
I shouldn't let it get to me because it doesn't affect me, but it just aggravates me because I see it as ignorance. I just see it as you. And there's plenty of times I don't know what I'm talking about. Trust me. But in this situation, I'm like, are you all nuts? Look at the numbers. Still, to this moment, the national champion Ohio State Buckeyes, who gave up the least yards against Ohio State. That would be Indiana at Ohio State. And not only did they give up the least amount of yards, and I know that I say this every time, but it's just, it boggles my mind. They gave up two plays for 49 yards back to back. You take that 49 yards off of that, what was it, 316 that they
right. It would have been under 300 yards.
Way under 300 yards. It would have been barely over. It would have been like, 265
like,
thereabout?
Yeah, right. It was a good 265, 270, something like that. But yeah,
that's not just anybody. Not just anybody.
No, right.
Now, granted, Ohio State wasn't playing as well as they're playing now, but you also were at Ohio State. So, and you had an offense that wasn't doing anything to give you any help that day.
Yeah,
so
right.
To me, it's remarkable what Indiana's defense did. They had a top 5 defense last year. They had they had a top. How am I going to say this? The offense, it was a top 10 offense, but against most everybody it played, with the exception of Notre Dame and Ohio State, and they had a top 20 offense at that time because the line kind of let them down. So overall but see, this is why I hate polls. Polls are stupid. Right. They're whack. Now we've got these way too early top 15 polls for next season. Indiana, well, I think yesterday I saw they were like 17th, which is a far cry from where they were the year before that in the preseason poll, which is good because starting off at 17, they should win their first first 3 games for sure. Then they have Illinois at home. That's going to be a huge game, but they should get that one and go to 4-0. The first test of the season will come at Iowa in their 5th game. And Iowa is a team that is going to be, I think they're going to be tougher than nails next year. Always good defensively, solid running game, but now they've added that South Dakota quarterback, Coach.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Iowa's going to be a team that maybe many kind of forget about. And then all of a sudden they burst on the scenes and you're kind of talking like, wow, I didn't think this, but you're correct. They got a defense that's lights out. The offense has much improved. So yeah, I think the Big Ten next year are going to be as challenging with parity and things of that magnitude that I think it'll be an interesting year to see how it all falls out under the second year of a 18-team league. But there's a lot of things that are going to happen in college football, both that is regards to players and such. But the one thing I think we all need to keep an eye on, because the Biden administration prior to leaving office dropped a couple bombs on the NCAA settlement, of which one was they need to rediscuss the antitrust matter and this salary cap issue, because they see that as a violation of the Sherman Act. And so they've asked the judge.
Title IX, is that the Title IX deal?
No, this is the one that is the NCAA settlement that provided the collective bargaining.
Sherman's the Antitrust Act, isn't it?
Yeah, right. What they did is with that antitrust stuff is they put a cap on what was going to be paid out by the NCAA to the schools. And because that is not given a chance to increase by year and year, they feel that's something that is jeopardizes the student athlete in terms of monetary gain. So they've asked the judge to dismiss it or at least look at it from that standpoint. So that's something to keep an eye on, because if the judge looks at it and takes the side of the DOJ as it pertains to what they've agreed upon, this thing all of a sudden could end up going to court and the NCAA screwed. So that's one avenue to keep an eye on too. And then you brought up the second one, Title IX. The Department of Education sent out a memo as well saying that any monetary things that are being distributed to institutions under Title IX, that should be a 50-50 split between men's sports and women's sports. And if you don't do that, you're a possible violation of Title IX, and it could create a problem too, because as you know, 80% of those dollars were going to go to football, and it was going to go from there. So it wasn't going to be an equitable split when it came to that. So not do you have issues still pertaining to payment, NIL, all these things, and it's still no guardrails up as it pertains to that. And then
not only there are no guardrails, there are going to be a lot of issues. The stuff
Absolutely.
that we're talking about now the Title IX, it's the Department of Education has said, oh no, because they know that a lot of these schools are planning on about 75% of that money heading towards football, as it should, because that's where it comes from. And men's basketball. I'm sorry for all of you people that want to give everybody a trophy. That's not real life. That's not how it works. Do you make the same amount of money at your job as everybody else?
Absolutely
No,
not.
you don't. And I don't care if they're man, woman, black, white, green, yellow. It does not matter.
Yeah.
Where your money comes from is dependent upon the pool that it is coming from and your value inside of that particular pool. Nothing else does not matter. So if they try to step in and screw that up, then that's just complete chicken crap.
Well, the best thing about it
is what
is
happens when you get politicians involved.
Yeah. Well, the best thing is there's a new administration, and they'll probably drop all this so that it can proceed forward and probably rescind the memos that the previous administration sent out. But we're already seeing some of the aspects of things that are going to impact institutions such as Indiana, where they cut 25 department jobs because of this revenue sharing, and they're going to have to reduce their staff and stuff. Now, some of it was positions that weren't filled anyway. I think that was 12, but one of the assistant deputy athletic directors who had been there forever, she loses her job because of this. So it's a whirlwind that we're seeing on how this is going to be addressed. So far, no, I don't think any schools have cut any sports. So that's another thing. But here's the other thing about what I like about what Indiana, and this is where objectivity and subjectivity and all that BS comes into play with what they've done. If you look what Indiana has added to their program after the season, the portal additions were as good as, if not better than, the previous year, because we talked about this last week. They have Power 4 talent coming in, and they address their needs. So when you look at it, they do not have any over glaring weakness in that regard when it comes to their lineup. Plus, they're going to have 90 plus bodies with the 14 freshmen coming in. So I think we all can look at it with a sense of optimism that the step that was taken by Kurt Signetti and the entire program this year will also continue into the 2025 season, irregardless of the noise on the outside, because of Signetti's approach to it. He doesn't care about the noise. They're not focusing on that. Their focus is getting better each and every day and being able to move the program forward. And it's going to be a tougher year for them in that regard, as the schedule, as you just said, is going to be a little bit more troublesome in terms of where they go play and who they play. And right off the bat, you talked about Illinois and Iowa.
Absolutely, man. Next week, we'll start talking about player position rooms and which is which. The quarterback room, obviously very solid right now. There's a story up on the Hoosier.com that goes all the way down to the walk-on quarterback that has joined the Indiana team at a time when the room is stocked of talent. Fernando Mendoza, Alberto Mendoza, Tyler Cherry is in there. One other that I'm missing. There's somebody else that they saw. Oh, the kid that decommitted from Ball State. And then Maverick Geske is a walk-on from Bray Buff Jesuit.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not afraid to take a shot, but we'll talk about that stuff and more next time.
That's going to be an important part because remember, they're going to limit the number of athletes that are on a roster, especially in football, because all of them will be paid something. So therefore there is no walk-ons. And, we talked about the NIL money as well. And then there is no more national letter of intent because they're all signing agreements on how many years they've got to stay. And if you want to take a look
see about that, I've not yet, I still not yet seen a multi-year deal.
Well, here's the thing. This is the kid that's happening up at Wisconsin and why they wouldn't release him because he's now gone to Miami. The reason why they weren't releasing him was because he had signed a 2-year commitment in terms of what Wisconsin was going to pay him. So theoretically, it's a contract, 2 years. They weren't releasing him because the kid was breaking the contract. Well, they don't have no control over it because there's no rule that says that you have to honor those contracts. So he withdraws.
Any legal contract should still be a legal contract. So
binding.
I don't understand. That's what I've not understood about why this has not happened already. A legal contract is I can have a contract signed between you and me to sweep my walkway.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
And this is where
X number of times, the X number of dollars, and you agree to it, you sign it, boom, there it is. So, we'll have to get into that.
Yeah, Wisconsin is suing the young man as well as the Miami Hurricanes in this matter. So it's going to be interesting to see. And again, we're going to have a fun offseason in college football because it will be top of mind all the way up through the start of next season.
Absolutely. All right, my friend.
Thank you, partner. Appreciate you.
We'll do it again next time, and you never know. We may have you back on tomorrow to talk some more. But
well, you let me know. Let me know, partner.
How's that wheel getting a little bit better?
The wheel's getting a little bit better and all that. Still having some issues, but we'll be better, and I should be up and around here pretty good.
Good to hear it. All right, my friend. Shannon Griffith joining us here on the program, as he does each and every Thursday. We'll talk more football with him when we get back. But right now, we've got to take a break. Indiana basketball is it is what it is. And I know the fans are really upset. It's not going to get better, but I've said that a number of times. Why? Don't beat your head against the wall and expect things to change. It's not. This is year 4. You've seen this movie 4 years running. And that's not a complaint. That's not anything other than a fact. You've seen this movie for 4 years running. No point in getting upset. It is what it is. Yes. Read my lips. There will be a change at IU basketball at the end of the season. No, it will not come in season. Now, the only way that would happen is if things got really bad, I think, and they talked to Mike, and Mike decided, this is not worth it. I'm going to go ahead and step down myself. I don't know that would happen, but I wouldn't be surprised by it. After last year when he got the 2 technicals and got kicked out of that game, obviously on purpose. So it's going to be very interesting to see because it's going to get worse way before it gets better. But if any of you are subscribers to the Hoosier.com, you would know in the forums I've written numerous times, it's not going to be, for those of you that want change, it's not going to be a successful season. They don't fire successful coaches. They hire successful coaches. So therefore, you have to go through the storm to get to the sun. And that's how you have to look at it. Again, I'm sorry, but that's again. It's that is something that fans have had to go through so many times. I don't understand why. I don't understand a lot of the hires that have been made. I don't understand the due diligence that was not done. Archie Miller was the only person spoken to, I believe, that year when he was hired. And as a matter of fact, guess who was the last coach to beat Northwestern? Last IU coach. That's right, Archie Miller. That came in, I think it was February of 2021 or January of 2021. I wrote that down somewhere yesterday. I was reading through that. Now, I don't know where I wrote it. But, yeah, the last time Indiana beat Northwestern, February 10th, 2021, in 2 overtimes at Welsh Ryan Arena, 79-76. Indiana has now lost 4 straight to Northwestern. That ties a mark from 1915. That's before World War I. People. We're going to talk more about it. Bob Kravitz should be joining us. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios right after this break. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth's sour mash bourbons, sweet mash, and hard road ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. When it comes to apparel and promotions, Freethink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. Freethink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. Freethink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what Freethink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com. Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's C-O-Y-L-E, to receive a discounted fundraiser. If you're looking for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from RE/MAX Advanced Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl Sizemore from RE/MAX Realty at cheryl@indyhomepros.com or 317-701-0838. 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore help you find the home you want today.
At Ben Davis Chevrolet and Ben Davis Ford in Auburn, we're your one-stop shop for all of your automotive needs. We have the area's best selection of over 300 vehicles, including new cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. Plus a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles in stock. And if we don't have what you're looking for, we'll find it for you. We also have top-of-the-line service and parts, plus a collision repair center, and we're competitively priced on everything. For sales, service, collision, parts, and more, we do it all. Come see us today or visit us online at bendavischevrolet.com and bendavisford.com.
Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this Thursday, Indiana basketball last night went up to Evanston, Illinois to take on the Northwestern Wildcats in an attempt to get another win. A road win would have been a Q1 for Indiana back-to-back as they just was able to get that done at Ohio State. But that would not be the case last night. Indiana actually played a relatively good first half, and then it went awry. But there's no continuity with this team, no chemistry whatsoever. The parts don't match. It's a complete mismatch. I've talked about that before. Malik Renew, although he didn't really impact the game last night, he only played 10 minutes, working him back in. But he's not a 4. He doesn't have a true position. He's not a 4. He's not a 5. So what do you do with him? Just kind of let him go wild, and which is kind of what he does. But there's not really an offense. Mackenzie Mbako got off the schneid last night, at least, breaking out of his slump. And how did he do it? Well, by opening up the games, getting to the rim. Talked about that very thing yesterday, how he had stopped doing that. And he needed to get back to that. He did, and it proved to be a way to get him going, although not perfect last night, but he did have a 20-point night to lead Indiana in scoring, 8 of 14 from the field overall. That's twice as many shots as he had hit in the 4 games prior combined. He hit 3 of 7 behind the three-point line. More importantly, he hadn't hit one in those 4 games. So not a bad night. Only got to the free throw line 1 time. See, that's a difference. Trent Sisley. If you watch, I post a lot of highlights from him and his game right now. He is mixing in 3-point shooting, but he gets in and battles inside, takes the ball to the rim. That is a multi-dimensional wing. And Mackenzie Mbako is just not developing. He's just not developing his tool set. It's like he's a one-trick pony, and when that one trick is not up to snuff, the rest just goes to whatever. But Indiana had 4 players in double figures. Only 9 points off the bench. Kanan Carlisle, I don't know what you say about him. 0 points, 0 of 1 from the field. That was a 3-point attempt again. Why he is allowed to attempt 3-point shots is amazing to me, because he always takes the worst shot in the world. It's usually right at the top of the shot clock, or just some other inopportune time. He makes bad decisions on his shot selection. So, but not only that, and worse than that, his shooting statistics, not good. If you look on the season, let's see, Kanan Carlisle is shooting, where is it? I just lost it. I'm sorry. Yes, 22.8 from 3-point. 22.8. But yet he needs to be shooting 3-point shots. No, he doesn't. You want to hear one that's worse than that? Bryson Tucker, 6.3% 3-point shooter. That's not going to work as a wing. That's horrible. So he does not have that talent. I didn't realize that. What? So I really wonder, Kanan Carlisle, what was Woody seeing? I don't get it. If you're going to bring in a big like Umar Ballo, which is fine, because Umar he's a big, but he's a very limited big. Why not bring in somebody who can do both? They were out there, but that's how it goes. That is what you get. Last night after the game, in the post-game presser, one of the questions asked, what's holding this team back from being more cohesive and playing like a basketball team, basically? And here's Woody's answer.
Yeah, Mike, what do you think is holding this team back right now from playing kind of cohesively for a full? You talked about having stretches, but for a full 40 minutes.
I wish I knew. I'm still trying.
I could stop it right there. He just, I can't believe a head coach would ever utter those words, but he does it with great frequency, which is astonishing.
Yeah, Mike, what do you think is holding this team back right now from playing kind of cohesively for a full? You talked about having stretches, but for a full 40 minutes.
I wish I knew. I'm still trying to figure it out. I know we got Malik back, and we knew we weren't going to play him very many minutes tonight, but we have a hell of a defensive half, and then we come out and we give up 54 points, and we pile on the turnovers. I mean, it's just a bad combination. We just didn't play well the second half.
I wish I knew. I'm still trying to figure it out. Stop tape. I mean, bam. There's your story right there. He, at least he's being honest. He doesn't know. He doesn't understand. That's because he doesn't understand the college game. He doesn't understand inserting an offense that is modern, that will work. He doesn't understand having an offense that matches the pieces that you have. He doesn't understand needing the pieces to match the offense that you have. He thinks that you can just plug and play and just run some basic sets, I guess, and just let the athletes take care of it. Like in the NBA, when guys, it's just the talent takes over. Well, that ain't the way it works in college. And especially when you don't have the talent. Again, I personally, I don't understand how someone can be this oblivious. That's the thing that gets me. It is like total oblivion. And I that's what I don't understand. How is it that everyone on the free planet can see something, but the guy that's right there that's being paid $5 million a year to run it doesn't know and is still trying to figure it out? I wish I knew. Again, here's Mackenzie Mbako on the answers to all questions are generally not like, this is just a canned answer. There are no specifics to the question. He was asked, what's it going to take for this team to not allow so many runs and not their games not to be so run filled, to be more level in playing? Now you have to listen to him because he doesn't speak loud.
I feel like the communication was a little bit lost towards the second half. We weren't getting to our spots, and when they picked up the ball and spurted it out, we were supposed to be with our man. I fell victim to that, so just being able to stay locked in and stay focused for a full 40 minutes and not let the game get away from us like it did.
Stay locked in, stay focused for a full 40 minutes. Why? See, but again, why are we hearing those things? He's not a freshman. It's you're 2/3 of the way through your season. Why is that an issue? How in the world can those things still be an issue? Those are the answers I would love to be able to get. The questions I would like to be able to ask, it doesn't matter. People always send messages that, well, you should ask this or the media should ask that. It doesn't matter what we ask. Listen to the answers that are given. They are going to be self-serving. We generally get to ask one question, and it doesn't get answered. The answer is crafted in a different way. That has nothing to do with, that's actually the actual answer. But the question should have been, why? Why is that still needed? Why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you working for 40 minutes? Why aren't you locked in for 40 minutes? Why aren't you locked in at all? Why? How can you not be at this stage? Mike Woodson, why do you not know? Why are you still trying to figure it out 4 years in? Those are the questions. Unfortunately, the answers are not coming, but it doesn't really matter. Again, don't get wound up. I'm telling you, change is coming, period. There's no question. That's not even, that is no longer a question. So just endure it. You don't have a choice. You do not have a choice. Pecan says the IU administration and boosters continue to look like damn fools the longer this clown is employed. They're not going to make a change in the middle of the season. I just don't see it. Indiana has not done that. That doesn't mean it's impossible to happen. Like I said, I think it would have to get really bad, and it can. It can get really bad because this team doesn't have the fight that Tom Crean's 6-25 team had with 1/10 of the talent, 1/12 of the talent, 1/13 of the talent. They didn't lose as many games by the digits this team has. That was a 6-25 team. This was supposed to have been a team that challenged for the Big Ten title. We were hoodwinked. I thought they were going to challenge for the Big Ten title. I kind of knew better with Mike Woodson at the helm, but I thought that they would still wind up in the upper echelon. Oh no. They're going to finish at the bottom of the middle. They're not going to miss the Big Ten tournament, but they're going to play on day one in the Big Ten tournament. I've said that for a couple of weeks. Gritty says IU basketball is a joke to everyone. She is so disappointed. If her mom didn't want to go to the game Sunday, she would just stay at home. Yeah, it's bad. But again, you have to understand where you are now. This is what the case, this is the situation. And it's not going to change, and complaining is not going to change it. So there will be a change. Yes, Jared. Mike Woodson is now 0-5 against Northwestern. It is more than pathetic. AJ says that he doesn't believe IU athletic admin will make a change until the end of the season. I agree with you on that. Andy, funny how when IU underperforms, people get on the comment board and say the Big Ten is bad. Buffalo Bill, Joker. We used to call him Joker back in the old days. IU needs a new investment broker because whoever said these 13 stocks were a good investment at $5 million was dead wrong. IU's portfolio is not performing well at all. Cut your losses and start over. That is a sound business plan. Mercy. We've got lots more coming up. Look forward to it. Todd Leary is going to join us. We'll talk more about the Hoosiers. We've got to take this break. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after. Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. Hoosier Hanks East, located on College Ball Road in front of Kroger in Bloomington, is everything you could want. Great food like their custom pizzas, wings, wraps, unbeatable daily drink specials, live music on Fridays, and Hoosier Hanks East is home to Inside Indiana Football and Inside Indiana Basketball coaches shows hosted by Don Fisher. Be on the lookout for Hoosier Hanks ticket giveaways to Indiana and Colts games on social media. Stop by and meet Hoosier Hank at Hoosier Hanks East on College Ball Road in Bloomington. Hungry for something a little different? Well, head to the Rusty Gator Fork and Ale in Bedford, where oceanic flavors meet southern charm with a Cajun flair, like their loaded voodoo fries, gator bites, or jambalaya, and so much more. The Rusty Gator also has live music each Friday and Saturday night with some of the best local and regional artists around. Visit the Rusty Gator Fork and Ale in Bedford and get your Cajun on. If you're looking for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from RE/MAX Advanced Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl Sizemore from RE/MAX Realty at Cheryl@IndyHomePros.com or 317-701-0838. 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore help you find the home you want today. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth's sour mash bourbons, sweet mash, and hard road ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive.
Turnovers, not guarding in a floppy situation, which is the easiest thing to guard. You know, we just... Same things they ran in the first half. I thought we defended it well. In the second half, we just gave up too many opportunities and they made us pay.
Turnovers, not guarding in a floppy situation. I don't know what the hell that even meant. Todd Leary, the shot fighter, joins us now from myjumpshot.com. Make sure if you know of, have a kid, are a kid, anyone. Actually, high school, early college, doesn't matter. That needs help with basketball fundamentals. MyJumpShot.com gets that taken care of. Todd Leary joining us now after the Hoosiers lose for the 5th straight time to Northwestern, Todd. That is a mark that is tied from 1915. That is that's a new low, man.
That's a new low. You are exactly right. And we're not – I don't want to – rip too badly on Northwestern because they're a good team, but they're not a powerhouse. They're a team, especially last night, the way they played in the first half. Indiana was primed to beat them and really put themselves in a great situation. I really, really try hard to give them a lot of credit when they make plays and do the right things at the end of games and make plays to win. But unfortunately, we're when they don't, you just kind of fall back into the negativity. And this was too easy of a game to win. And no game is easy. I know I'm saying that inappropriately, but this was a game to steal and go out and make plays and win. And Indiana, outside of maybe Ballo, I don't even know that you put him in this category. I didn't think he played that great, but no one played one played exceptionally yesterday for Indiana, and it's hard to win a game when no one, really steps up and has one of their good games.
Yeah, in the first half, Indiana actually outshot Northwestern 10 of 28 to 8 of 26 a little bit. They had hit 3 of 9 from the behind the strike line at 33%. They hit 80% of their free throws at 8 of 10 in the first half. They had 8 turnovers, though. That was a little high, but Northwestern not able to take advantage of that because Northwestern turned the ball over 7 times. Indiana managed 11 points off of those turnovers. They out-rebounded Northwestern in the first half, both offensively and defensively. They had more second-chance points. They got all their bench points in the first half, only 9 there, and only 14 paint points. So, but it was a solid first half, a half that you would love to have and want to have on the road. But then the second half, things got different. Northwestern just got on fire behind the three-point line. They hit 9 3-point shots, man. Where did the three-point defense go?
Yeah, I mean, I hear announcers and a lot of people, a lot of critics, complain when guys make 3-pointers. I don't ever hear anybody say Indiana made 3-pointers because the defense was bad. Like, you still have to make the shot. You still have to put it in the basket. And yeah, you want to make the shots as difficult as possible. I get it. I understand that. But I mean, I don't think you fault the defense too much. I mean, unless you're just handing over wide open threes, which for the most part they weren't. But I mean, it's just, you have to expect that. Like, you can't go into a game expecting the home team to shoot 25% and help you out and win the game. And that's the way the first half went. Indiana shooting 10 of 28 in the first half with a 6-point lead. That's not good enough. If you can hold them to 25 points, you've got to have a team like that down, 13 to 18 points at halftime if you were able to play that well in the first half. And so, that to me was where I don't want to say it was lost, but that's where they didn't take advantage of the great opportunity that they had, because that was definitely a situation where Indiana could have had Northwestern, almost to the point where they had to make a really dramatic comeback in the second half and hit 20 threes or 15, 17 threes or something like that. But, they didn't play well in the first half. That 6-point lead was kind of fake looking. Like, I don't know how they were ahead. They were ahead because Northwestern was that bad. But you have to expect teams to go on a run and play well. And I'm sure at halftime they got lit up by Chris Collins. And so, coming out in the second half, if Indiana didn't at halftime sit there and talk about, hey, look, they're going to make a run, we are going to have to buckle down. And when they start making a run, we've got to figure out a way to combat it. And they just didn't.
Yeah, and in the second half, Kanan Carlisle, Trey Galloway, Anthony Leal, Malik Renew doesn't count. He didn't really play. But the other 3, man, just zeros. They're just not providing anything. And it's got to be a team effort. Most of the scoring came from Mackenzie Mbako, which is a good thing to see for him to get out of that slump. And he got out of that slump by going to the rim first, which it's weird because we were talking about that just days before, or the day before, or yesterday. It was talking about how, he used to go to the rim and use that, and he just had stopped. But they allowed Northwestern to come alive, and Mike Woodson said they didn't answer the bell, which, well, yeah, you could always say that when you don't win. But this team just does not have – there's no cohesiveness to it that I can see.
Well, there's no consistency. Like, you should be able to count on – I mean, Balo's the only consistency that they have, and that's – he puts up pretty similar numbers every game, and you can count on him. You mentioned the turnovers a little while ago. Like, this team, I think Tom Crean's teams used to have a turnover
17
situation.
total turnovers.
Yeah, Tom Crean's teams used to be going so fast. Like, they would – I remember Troy Williams, like, dribbling out of bounds. He was going so fast one time. Or I say one time, multiple times.
Yeah.
And like, those turnovers are – different kind of turnover. Like Indiana's turning the ball over, trying to feed the post. And I know the overall goal of this team, the goal of almost every team is to get the ball inside and score in the paint. But you can't do it to the point where you're forcing it, and they're forcing it. Like, they're not taking what comes to them. They don't have another option, I guess, is the reason for that. They don't feel like they can win by shooting from the outside or another route. They just feel like pounding it inside, I guess, is the only way to win a game. And so they're just going to live with those turnovers, forcing the ball into the paint. And it's frustrating to watch. It shouldn't be that way. You're making it harder on Ballo than it needs to be. There's a lot of different things they could do to make this cut down the turnover situation. And the one guy I don't mind if he's going too fast and turning it over is Miles Rice. When he does that, he creates enough baskets to offset, a few turnovers he's going to have by going too fast. Everyone else is not going too fast. They're just trying to force the ball, and that's because of the game plan and what they're trying to execute. And Anthony Leal had a turnover last night that was him just passing the ball to someone for no reason. He was dribbling it up the court. He should have just held on to it, let everybody get set into position. And I'm not criticizing Anthony. I mean, I'm criticizing that one play. But man, we made mistakes at pretty critical times. And then once we did start making shots, heck, it was a game of runs, that's for sure. I mean, we were down by 7 and went on a 10-point run to go up by 3, and then they went on a 13-point run to go up by 10 again. Like, it was just, there was a lot of stuff going on in that game that you needed to kind of sit back, take a deep breath, and have somebody that you could rely on. And when your guy that is your consistent guy that I talked about in being Ballo, he's not going to have the ball in his hands. We've got to figure out a way to get the ball to him. And that's what I think creates the turnovers. And teams know that about us. So they're defending against it. And I thought that game last night played out to where the team that was a tougher minded team was going to win. And honestly, I feel like that is who won.
Yeah. And it's not going to get easier for Indiana, although their game will be at home at Simon Scott Assembly Hall against a Maryland team that has struggled much like Indiana. But we're going to see one of the guys that got away, Derek Queen, take on Umar Ballo, which is going to be fun to watch because you've got a freshman against an old. It's going to be like two bulls going at it. The old graybeard bull and the young buck going after that territory, and who's going to get that. But Malik Renew returned last night, very limited minutes. But when he comes back, I wonder what are you going to do, because last night you have Luke Goody with 14 points on 4 of 5 shooting behind the 3-point line in 33 minutes. And you had Mackenzie Mbako playing 26 minutes and 20 points, 3 of 7 shooting behind the 3-point line. Somebody's minutes are going to go down there. And is it worth the trade-off?
Yeah, I mean, the minutes that are going to go down is Anthony Leal's minutes. Like, the minutes that he's playing right now are, he's kind of filling in for Renew, different role completely. I get
that. But how do you move that around? Because he's playing guard, right?
Yeah, as soon as Renew is fully healthy, they're going to go back to playing 2 bigs. And like, let's take the game this weekend, Maryland. They play 2 bigs. I mean, Julian Reese is a big guy. Derek Queen obviously is a big guy, and Reese is not going to step out and stretch the floor. I mean, this is going to be a similar type teams playing against each other when Maryland comes to Assembly Hall, because they've got 2 bigs and they're trying to put them on the floor as much as possible. They play off of each other. Derek Queen's he's had a really good freshman year, but it's kind of a typical freshman year. He has big games, and then he has kind of lulls a little bit, and then he has huge games. He can go for 40. Let's not kid each other. Like, this guy, if he gets on a roll, I'm not sure that Ballo will be guarding him. Julian Reese also is another guy in there. I don't know. Somebody's going to have to guard him. He's probably a better rebounder than Derek Queen. So, somebody's going to have to block him out. every game creates a different challenge, and this is going to be one where I don't want to call them mirror images, but you got two teams that are kind of trying to accomplish the same thing, and that is shoot as many shots inside the paint from their big guys as possible. And this season is beyond frustrating. The last couple of years, towards the end of the year, it's gotten frustrating. This year for me is, honestly, this is the first time I can tell you, like, I don't really look forward to games because I feel like this negative comments come too easily out of my mouth. Like I should be defending Indiana, and instead I'm mad at them. And it's a frustrating position to be in. You're there too. Everybody's there. It's just frustrating.
But it's no different than, I hate to make this analogy, but you having a kid and you want them to be good, to do the right things and to do well. And when if they consistently do things that are against what you've taught them, you're befuddled, you don't understand, but you're also disappointed. But the biggest thing is why? What is not going on? And that's what, to me, is not being asked or answered specifically by Mike Woodson. It doesn't matter what question you ask, you're not going to get an answer to that question.
Right.
And that's the problem.
The difference in the analogy that you're making, which I don't disagree with, but the difference in the analogy is when you ask a kid, you're the parent, he kind of has to answer. I mean, if not, there's punishment and ramifications for what in not answering, not just answering, but answering correctly and answering the right way. And Mike Woodson doesn't have to answer to anyone. And he's said that out of his own mouth. He doesn't need to give us answers. He's going to go into that press conference trying to enlighten anyone. He's trying to get out of there as quick as possible. His answers are as plain vanilla and bland as possible. He's not really calling anyone. I'll just say this, and I think this makes sense to me, and I don't blame him for this. Mike Woodson handles press conferences and handles coaching and handles substitutions and handles a lot of the things that affect this basketball team like an NBA guy would. And that makes sense to me. He's been in the NBA for 40 plus years. I understand that. I get that. That makes sense to me. But I'm also going to call it out the way that it is. He doesn't handle it like a typical college coach. He doesn't hold these guys accountable like a typical college coach. He holds them accountable like an NBA franchise. And let's just say they have 82 games every year and they're paid big dollars, and you can't really hold them accountable in the same fashion that you should be able to hold college kids and college players accountable. And I think we operate, I'm saying we as part of Indiana University, I think this program operates like an NBA franchise, in my opinion. And I don't want to say they don't care, but I will say this. I don't think guys in the NBA care about game 45 in an 82 game season the same way they do as game 81 when they're trying to make a playoff run. And I think this team kind of plays like that. I don't think that's their mindset. I don't think they're looking at it like they don't care as much about certain games, but I don't think they have the urgency that you need in this situation. Indiana has a great opportunity to make the NCAA tournament playing in the Big Ten. They have a lot of opportunities at quad one wins, which you need to get into the NCAA tournament. And they're just not, they're not coming through the way that they all the way from the coaching staff all the way down. I don't think things are clicking the way that we all expected them to be.
And I agree. And to your point, I wonder is the lack of answers to the direct questions, because if you watch any other pressers, the coaches are giving you answers to the questions. Not that sometimes that's not avoided. It happens. Sometimes I get it. But the majority of the time, when you ask a coach something, they pretty much answer that question with what your question was about. And I wonder if the non-answers is just a lack of just a complete and total lack of understanding. He doesn't seem like he understands what is being talked about from this standpoint, because he sees it from a completely different standpoint and is not capable of understanding this game that he's trying to play is not modern and it is not matching up to his opponents.
I mean, I will just agree with the end part of that and say I don't think that they have a game, a consistently successful approach to winning games in the Big Ten. And when I say that, I'll elaborate just for a second and say, I mean, like, I don't think that in today's world of college basketball, two slow bigs like Indiana has plotting up and down the court is a recipe for success on a consistent basis. You're going to win some games here and there and all that, and you're going to put other teams in tough situations from a guarding standpoint. But when your two guys don't go crazy and play well, and when if Malik Renew and Ballo don't dominate the game, Indiana's most likely not going to win. And that's a tough position to be in. It shouldn't. Other teams are not built that way. Old Indiana teams are not built that way. I always, I do the Bill Walton references all the time where I go back and talk about my playing days and my career and the things that I understand when I played there. Think about this. On any given night, you could have Greg Graham as the leading scorer. You could have Pat Graham as the leading scorer. You could have Calbert Chaney as the leading scorer, Eric Anderson, Damon Bailey, Brian Evans, Alan Henderson. Like, that's all on one team. Those guys are all – I'm not mentioning guys over, a coach's career. I'm mentioning all guys that are on one team. And on any given night, guys can step up and have big nights. And when Luke Goody, just 2 games ago, stepped up and had a big night on the road at Ohio State, we got a big win. That's the thing. That needs to happen on a consistent basis. There needs to be someone that steps up and does that. And I don't remember how many points did Mbako end up having? 20, something like that?
Yeah, 20.
Yeah. I mean, that was the quietest 20 points. That was 20 points that happened. I mean, how many of those points happened in a real condensed time frame of that second half? I mean, I think he probably had 12 to 14 of those points. Maybe not quite that many, 10 to 12 of those points over like a 3-minute span in the second half. If he had those points in the first half, Indiana would have had a 15 to 20 point lead at halftime. And so of course, we want him to score points whenever he can. But my point in that is the first half was where Indiana lost this game. It wasn't the second half. I know they gave up 54 points defensively. The second half wasn't as good, but that first half, you should have had him down 20. And when you have him down 20, not very many teams come back from being down 20. I know it happens, but not very many teams do. And that's where I think they lost this game. Your teams are going to make runs. If you thought at halftime that, Northwestern was going to score just another 25 points in the second half, you don't watch very many Big Ten games, because that's the home team's going to make a run if they have any pride whatsoever. And Chris Collins is a fiery coach that got these guys, I'm sure, lit up at halftime. And they came out. You even heard the announcer say, I listened to the announcer said, hey, they looked fired up coming out of halftime. He didn't say that about Indiana. And Indiana should have looked at their halftime, come out and said, hey, we didn't play very good and we're up by 6. Let's go put the pedal down, bury these guys in the first 5 minutes, and it's over. And that conversation used to happen when I was in the locker room. I promise you, we came out. We intentionally walked out of that locker room going, these first 5 minutes, we're killing these guys. We're going to dominate this game. And when you do that, you just set the tone for everything, and you put yourself in a great position to win. And they came out pretty flat in the second half, and obviously Northwestern didn't.
Yeah, someone mentioned earlier that they don't think this team has the fight because they're paid, yada, yada. I'm like, yeah, wait a minute. Everybody's getting
paid. I agree. But
everybody else is fighting.
And I get what they're saying. Like, I understand what they're saying. I agree. I'll tell you what would be interesting to see in that regard is, what's the NIL budget for, like, what are those guys making at Northwestern? Like, I bet it's fractional compared to
Does Northwestern even have I don't even know how much of an NIL program Northwestern even has.
Yeah, and they've got something. I'm sure you couldn't you couldn't keep any players if you had nothing. But to the point of what someone's saying in that, like, I don't think you can possibly have the same level of care. And I mean that. And there's nothing. I wouldn't trade it. I can promise you, if I could go back in my day and they paid us, I would take it for sure, 100%. But I will say, you cannot, as a 20-year-old, 23-year-old kid, 18-year-old kid, whatever all of these guys are, you can't possibly have the same fight in you when you get paid regardless. And we're teaching these guys a lesson of you get paid no matter what, and it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't. That comment, I don't blame it completely on that comment. I think the comment has some merit to it of them not caring as much because they get paid. I still think they want to win. I'm not sure that they know how to win.
Yes. They don't know how to win. They don't know how to work hard enough to win. And I don't think that they're being taught that either. So we've got to take a quick break. We've got the great Todd Leary with us from myjumpshot.com. Make sure you go there if you know of or have someone that needs better fundamentals in the game of basketball, like this team that we're watching and talking about right now. We've got more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios. Back with it right after this message. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth's sour mash bourbons, sweet mash, and hard road ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive.
Country living is just a swing away. It can be hard to find the exact home that fits your family's needs, so there couldn't be a better time to build a new home with Property Shore Construction. Now building exclusively south of Bloomington within the Stonecrest Golf Community. Choose from one of the gorgeous Stonecrest Signature Series house plans. We have several lots available with scenic views of the golf course. Contact Amy Rhoda with Revesco Real Estate for additional information. 812-583-0919 or go to mystonecrestliving.com.
Hoosier Hanks East, located on College Ball Road in front of Kroger in Bloomington, is everything you could want. Great food like their custom pizzas, wings, wraps, unbeatable daily drink specials, live music on Fridays, and Hoosier Hanks East is home to Inside Indiana Football and Inside Indiana Basketball coaches shows hosted by Don Fisher. Be on the lookout for Hoosier Hanks ticket giveaways to Indiana and Colts games on social media. Stop by and meet Hoosier Hank at Hoosier Hanks East on College Ball Road in Bloomington. Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer. Ugly Grouper, located on beautiful Anna Maria in Florida, is the place to be, and not just because they have unforgettable meals, including locally sourced seafood. The Ugly Grouper has your favorite craft beers and cocktails, along with live music every day. The Ugly Grouper is family-friendly, able to host private parties, and has the biggest grouper you've ever seen. The Ugly Grouper is the place to be on Anna Maria Island, Florida. Tell them Indiana Sports Beat sent you. Go to theuglygrouper.com for more information. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you on this wonderful Thursday from the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios. And Indiana last night had a loss on the road to Northwestern, and that was the fifth straight. That ties a mark from 1915.
World War One. Not even World War II. World War One.
Before World War One. Yeah,
you're right. Yeah, unbelievable.
There's no one alive from that war, if that tells you anything. But early on, I told people, I said, look, I go, this is what it's going to be like. I've said that before. There's no point in getting all worked up about it. I know it's hard not to for the fans because they want to win. They want their team to win. I get it. But you have to resign yourself to the fact that you're in year 4. You've seen this movie for 4 years. You know what the ending is like. It's not changing. If you go back and watch Saving Private Ryan, it ends the same. It's not going to change. But the good news is, as opposed to that, the ending can be changed after the fact. And I am greatly certain that that's going to happen. I don't think there's a question about that. And I know that that's not an area that you enjoy talking about. I'm not putting those words in your mouth, but I will tell you this.
You mean you're saying you think at the end of the year they're going to change coaches? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying I will almost virtually guarantee that there is going to be a change in coaches at the end of this season. Guaranteed. There is no doubt. This team's not making the NCAA tournament. And so if this was the best team that Mike Woodson's ever had, according to him, and the $5 million they spent in NIL money, and the best they can do is finish in the bottom of the middle of the Big Ten and play in the first day of the Big Ten tournament, sorry, that return on investment, not good. Someone mentioned earlier, compared him to a stock. Bill, Joker from the old days. You might remember him from the old days.
Of course I know Joker. Crazy.
I couldn't believe he couldn't comment for so long, but yeah, Joker Bill has been around from the beginning, people. That's why. But yeah, so everybody likes to talk about potential names, and some of it's fun, some of it's goofy. Ironically, I think that Indiana is in a better position this time than they have been the last two when it comes to that. And even though the name that comes to everyone's mind, Dusty May, you would think he's off the table because he's in his first year at Michigan. He's going to have a huge buyout. He doesn't. His buyout is low. I'm shocked. It's only $5 million right now, and May 1st it goes to $4 million. There is not a coach in the country that's in his first year at a Power 4 school like that with a buyout close to that. Nate Oates' buyout right now, and he's not even in his first year, is $18 million. So I think Dusty May is possibly on the table to discuss. Otherwise, I would have said, stop. I don't want to hear about that. Everybody always brings up Brad Stevens, yada, yada. I don't think that that's a reality either. There's all the rumors that, his daughter's a year away from graduating college or high school, going to go to college in the Midwest. Maybe he's tired of that, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. Chris Beard, legitimate. If they can get past his baggage, his buyout is $3.5 million. And he's done nothing but win everywhere he's been. And he took a 6-22 Ole Miss team, and they are kicking butt in the SEC. That is as tough as it gets. Took a loss last night at home, but there are other young coaches out there. But Indiana has to get this one right, Todd. They did it with football, and look at what happened. What on God's green earth will happen if that comes back to basketball?
I mean, I like to be respectful when it comes to coaches and not speculate on a job when a guy still has a job. I don't disagree with what you're saying. I think common sense would tell you if they don't make the NCAA tournament that they have to make a coaching change. I'm not as certain as you are that will happen. But I get where you're coming from. It makes sense. And you would think that would be the case. And there are a ton of coaches. And I'll just say this. With the new – I do think Indiana is in the best position they have been in a long time to hire the best coach available. And the reason for that is the NIL budget. that Indiana has an NIL budget that puts them in blue blood category. And Indiana has not played like a blue blood. I know you don't lose blue blood status overnight, but it's not been overnight. It's been a long time. And I've defended Indiana as a blue blood my entire life until this season. And right now, we're not a program that is serious about we're not a program that's competitive on a regular basis. And I don't think that we're in that category anymore. I think that we could get back into there. But I mean, it's going to take the right hire. I think we've made that comment that you just made, that this hire has to be right this time. We've made that comment every single hire that they've had. We made it with Archie Miller. We made it with Tom Crean. We made it with Kelvin Sampson. We made it here with Mike Woodson. Like we have made that comment, and it just hasn't happened. And so, you know, I still, and I will say this today, I don't like the way that our team plays. I don't like our game plan going in. I don't like having to feed the post, and that's why we're turning the ball over. I don't like our game plan. But I will say this, I'm also not writing off Mike Woodson. I hope at some point that something clicks and everything happens the way that we want it to happen as fans. But you know, it's frustrating for everyone as a fan right now. I'll tell you, it's frustrating. Those coaches are frustrated. Watching Mike Woodson sit in the press conference and say, I don't know, you know, I'm going to put a little bit of words in his mouth. It's not exactly how he said it, but I don't know how to fix what we've got going wrong. I mean, that's kind of how I took it.
That's what begs the question. Why?
That's just too honest. Like that's what every coach should probably say, because if they knew how to do it, they'd go do it. But I mean, when things are going bad, you know, maybe he's too honest about an answer like that, because maybe he should just give us the plain vanilla answer. We're going to keep working. We're going to get at it and all that. Blah, blah, blah. We've all heard that. Like, he's probably too honest in saying, I don't know, because I can tell you. Go ahead.
Ultimately, doesn't it start and end with the roster construction? This team is not built.
Well, I'll say I've said this from the very beginning. When everyone was super excited about the roster that we had last year, I said the exact same thing I've said for the last couple of years. And that is, how are we going to score? If our plan is to score from 3 feet away from the basket the entire game, we're not going to be competitive when it comes to big games. And that's exactly what's happening. So I will say, it does start with roster construction. And I didn't like our roster construction over the summer. I know a lot of people were excited about it. It's really easy for me to sit back and say now, you know, where they're a talented roster, but they're not skill talented. They're athletic talented. You know, we are an athletic team, but we're not a skill team.
Right.
And that's all the way from handling the ball, which is turnovers. That's all the way down to making good passes. It's all the way down to being able to shoot the ball. And it's all the way down to being good free throw shooters. And we don't check those boxes across the board.
No, you don't. And it's ironic that now Umar Ballo, as well as he shot the ball, and I'm from the free throw line. And I mean, you want to talk about a turnaround at the free throw line, man, I got to give it to him for that. But he's 59% free throw shooter still.
And that's what we're supposed to be excited about.
Yeah. Well, it gets worse. Let's see. Trey Galloway, 65% free throw shooter. That's not acceptable. But even the worst one yet, Anthony Leal, Mr. Basketball, 57.9% free throw shooter.
But that's a low amount of. There's not very many free throws that are taken. How many has he shot? I mean, he's probably shot less than 20.
Let's see. Where are his free throws? Daggone it. Free throw attempts on Anthony Leal. Yeah, 11 of 19.
Yeah. So, I mean,
but still, if you had 19 attempts, you should be hitting better than that.
He's a better shooter than that. No question about it. I totally agree with you. Like, I'm not arguing that point. I'm just saying, like, when you look at some of the other the volume shooters that Indiana has at the free throw line are not good free throw shooters. And I mean, heck, Mbako's not even shooting free throws very well right now. And so, but I mean, he's just in his brain. He's not doing anything well right now, to be honest with you. And I'm saying that after a 20-point performance. He didn't play well. He didn't play good. Like, I don't care what anybody says. He didn't play good. He played they were picking on him defensively the entire night. Like, he didn't play good.
Then you have Caden Carlisle. He's only got to the free throw line 10 times. He's hit 40%. 3-point shooting. He shoots 22.8%. He always takes really bad shots. The shot selection on this team is really poor, but again, I think that is a byproduct of this offense not being cohesive, not putting people in
not knowing how to accomplish what. I'm not going to say they don't know what they're trying to accomplish, because I do think they all know they're supposed to get the ball inside. I think they all know that, but I don't think they know how to accomplish that in the most efficient manner. And like, let's just analyze this for a second. It's much easier to feed the post when everybody is spread out and the defense is having to guard players all over the court that are all spread out. But when you don't have guys that can make shots, the defense doesn't have to spread out. So our offense is really working against itself because we don't have great shooters. Therefore, they can pack it in and play the pack line defense. Every team plays some version of the pack line defense against Indiana because it works. And all they do is just try to keep Indiana scoring as few points as possible in the paint, because every team thinks that Indiana is not going to beat them from the outside.
Well, they're not wrong.
They're not wrong.
They are not wrong, and most teams are not going to get. And the weirdest thing is, though, these games that Indiana are playing, they're not dominating the paint either. So they're losing. If the paint's a wash, but you're getting killed out on the 3-point line, that's a negative, and you're going to lose that game.
Well, I said this from the very beginning of the year. I said this over the summer on your show, repeatedly. You cannot win in college basketball in 2024, 2025. You cannot win in college basketball on a consistent basis. You can win a game here and there, but you can't win on a consistent basis if you can't shoot the basketball. And that's a fact. Like, it's proven every single night. And so I'm not saying that you can't throw the ball inside. You definitely should throw the ball inside. I love using analogies, so I'm just going to use an analogy. I hear it all the time, and I hear coaches in the NFL and in college football all the time say, we got to run the ball. We got to run the ball. We got to run the ball. I mean, Ohio State just won a national championship, and if you ask people to describe their offense, yeah, they had 2 great running backs, and they had a running back that scored 3 touchdowns in a national championship game. But the reason why they can run the ball is because they can throw the ball. And the reason why Indiana can't score on the inside is because they can't shoot the ball. They can score on the inside. I shouldn't say it that way, because you can refute that comment. The reason why they can't score enough to win on the inside is because they can't shoot the ball. And they prove that on a pretty regular basis for me. I don't have to prove it. And so that's where we're at now. Like Indiana has got to either one of two things: figure out a way to be able to be better shooters, or we're hoping and wishing every game that the other team just shoots bad, because we're not going to beat them just pounding it inside.
Maryland comes in on Sunday at noon to take on Indiana. They are coming off of a win over Nebraska at home, 69-66, a close one, 3-point win. Game before that, they lost a close one, 2 points, 76-74 to Northwestern in overtime. So this Maryland team is probably one that matches up relatively well with Indiana. They've got Derek Queen in the middle, of course, and he's a talented, skilled big guy.
He's a load. He's a big guy. He's really good. He's a good player. He's a freshman, so hopefully we can neutralize him in that regard. But I mean, they're a team that doesn't shoot the ball very well either. This is going to be a very low 3-point volume attempt game by both teams, in my opinion. I mean, it's just, I don't look forward to watching this game at all, because I think it's going to be boring. I think it's going to be which team can pound the other team the most. And at the end of it, you're going to feel like you're kind of on a roll because you got to win, whichever team it might be. And they're not going to be. Their formula for winning is not sustainable either. They try to pound it inside just as much as Indiana does. And just like what you just said is going to happen. They're going to be able to win some games against a team like Nebraska, who doesn't shoot the ball well on a given night, and they're going to lose to a team like Northwestern, who gets it going a little bit. And it's just like that's the way Indiana's built and made. And it's just very, very frustrating to be a fan of.
A good number to hear is that Maryland on the road 0-4. Indiana.
It's not a good number because like there's motivation with that, and I mean
at least Indiana's 11-1 and not 11-0, so
true.
They don't have to.
Good point.
They're not chasing that mark. What's up next for you, brother?
No, I'll just watch some NFL this weekend and get ready for the Super Bowl. And I don't know. Hopefully, this team can go on a run and I can get excited about March Madness. Otherwise, I have to do what I've done for the last however many years and be excited about the tournament minus Indiana.
Georgia ranked. Even Georgia was ranked.
We don't follow Georgia basketball.
Oh, it's just football. Oh,
only football.
I get you.
Yeah, only
the great Todd Leary from myjumpshot.com. Make sure you go there. Appreciate you as always, brother. Have a great day and a great rest of your weekend.
Thanks, brother. You too.
You betcha. Hey, we've got more coming up. Chris Denari is on the road as the Pacers are in Paris. But I didn't say Chris is in Paris. He's just on the road. Just kidding. More details when we come back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios right after this. Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right. No payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing, or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition, or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. When it comes to apparel and promotions, Freethink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. Freethink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. Freethink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what Freethink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com. Enjoy healthy, delicious meals at home without the hassle with the Fresh Fork. Chef-curated, ready-made meals delivered right to your doorstep. Proudly fueling IU athletes and now available to you with a menu that's always fresh and diverse, from hearty proteins to fresh salads. The Fresh Fork empowers you to make better food choices without compromising. Let the Fresh Fork help transform your lifestyle for a healthier way of living today at thefreshforkonline.com. Use promo code RADIO20 and get $20 off your first order. Hungry for something a little different? Well, head to the Rusty Gator Fork and Ale in Bedford, where oceanic flavors meet southern charm with a Cajun flair, like their loaded voodoo fries, gator bites, or jambalaya, and so much more. The Rusty Gator also has live music each Friday and Saturday night with some of the best local and regional artists around. Visit the Rusty Gator Fork and Ale in Bedford and get your Cajun on. Located on 325 acres in beautiful Brown County, Indiana, Hard Truth Distilling Company is the biggest and the best craft distillery around. While Hard Truth is already known for producing internationally awarded whiskeys and spirits like Hard Truth's sour mash bourbons, sweet mash, and hard road ryes, as well as their cinnamon vodka and the always popular toasted coconut rum. Hard Truth Distillery offers so much more. With a full-service restaurant, ATV, and distillery tours, as well as live music, you can spend an entire day at Hard Truth Distillery while making your entire family or group happy. And that's the Hard Truth. Hard Truth products are available across Indiana, as well as many other states. So no matter where you shop, if they don't carry your favorite Hard Truth product, tell them you want the truth, the Hard Truth. Hard Truth Distilling Company encourages you to enjoy all of their products responsibly and to never drink and drive. Welcome back to the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios. Chris Denari joining us now from the Indiana Pacers. And Chris, I've got a new engineer want to show you. So there's Hank the engineer. So I just want to say hello to Chris Denari, the voice of the Indiana Pacers.
Oh, that's awesome. That looks like a great engineer and a great running mate.
Yeah, he's getting better. He's getting better. So we're glad to have him. So
how long have you had him?
Since Sunday. Rescue pup got him on Sunday. Awesome. And so just getting the training in. So
I'm proud of you. That is you have made a better life for Hank. There's no question about that.
I was thinking about that last night and every morning when it was been -2 and going out for a walk. I'm like, well, this sucks for me, but I guarantee you it's a lot better life than the one you were looking at.
Oh, no question. I say that to our 3 all the time because we have 3 rescues, no question that they bring joy to us. They're a lot of fun. It'd be very boring around the house if we didn't have our 3. So that Hank will make an impact. There's no question about that.
Oh, that's definite in many ways. Not all of them good. I'm just kidding. Yeah. Man, speaking of making an impact, the Pacers, baby, if I'm right, have they won 14 of 18?
Yeah, 14-4 over the last 18. And what's been the most impressive, Jim, is they have the fifth best overall net rating. They're 5th on offense, 5th on defense. We always know that, a year ago they were really good on offense, but they struggled defensively. But I think one of the reasons they've gone 14-4 over the last 18 and 8-1 in the month of January is their defense has just been much, much better. So they will be challenged later today and really in a few hours by San Antonio over in Paris. Then they've got Wemby and the Spurs again on Saturday. So great opportunity on a world stage for the Pacers to play, against an unbelievable player in Victor Wembanyama. And that's something that I'm looking forward to in the next couple of hours. It's a 2:00 start Eastern time, then a noon start on Saturday afternoon. And we'll have both of those broadcasts. For those that are out of the viewing area of FanDuel Sports Network, we're on NBA TV today. That will be our telecast. And then the game on Saturday is also on ESPN. So a lot of opportunities to see the Pacers play the next 2 games in Paris.
Yeah, for Indiana basketball fans that want to watch some winning basketball, just tune into Chris and the Pacers because they are getting that done. Now, some of them are not happy with your running mate there. I'm not going to mention that because that has been a testy moment. But, man, the Pacers, they started out the season and a lot of questions. Everybody wondering, where has this team gone? Where has Tyrese Halliburton gone? And then the pieces started falling together. They added Thomas Bryant, who was a great pickup, great role, bench player. And it seems like everyone is kind of fallen into their roles now.
Yeah, I think the other piece is they got healthier. They went about a 2-week stretch where they didn't have Aaron Nesmith, Andrew Nembhard, or Ben Shepherd. So 3 of their best defensive wings. And they've come back one by one. It was Nembhard came back, then Shepherd came back, and now Aaron Nesmith's been back for the last couple of games. So I think that's really helped them. This team is at its best when it's working as a whole. As good of a player and as an all-star as Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam are, this team is at its best when it's got its full complement of players because one of its great strengths is its bench and its depth. And this team right now has about 11 players you can throw out there. And I think one of the reasons they've been better defensively is they tend to pick up a lot more full court now, try to put pressure on the other offense and not allow them to come down and set up into their half-court offense. The Pacers are better when they're in transition, and they're better offensively in transition, and I think have become a better defensive team in transition as well.
Yeah, and today they have the Spurs over in Paris How many games are they playing over there?
Just 2, but in the past, I think it was about 7 years ago, the Pacers went to London and played the Denver Nuggets, but it was just 1 game over in London. If you're going to make this trip, it makes a lot of sense to play multiple games, and that's what the Pacers are doing. One is, in fact, today's game is considered a Pacers home game, and then Saturday's game is a San Antonio home game. There will be a lot of, French fans rooting for Victor Wembanyama, but these games also sold out relatively quickly. I think in about an hour. Accor Arena in Paris seats about 20,000, and people from about 53 countries bought tickets. So I think a lot of people in Germany and England, all throughout Europe, even into Asia, wanted to see NBA regular season games. So they'll be in attendance today in Paris.
That's pretty crazy, but a trend of American sports that are trying to build. The NBA was already kind of ahead of the deal with China and all of that, but trying to build American sports around the world. Soccer has always been the world's sport, but the NFL has gone to Europe. The NBA, obviously very popular with the players, so many different players from other places around the world.
Yeah, this is what's interesting, and I think this counts preseason games as well. These 2 games are the 96th and the 97th games played in Europe, NBA games. Traditionally there have been a lot of games every year in Europe that are preseason games. In fact, it dates back to 40 years ago. 40 years ago, the Seattle Supersonics went to Europe and played 3 games in the preseason. So it's a great opportunity to bring your product to those people there. Basketball is a worldwide sport. I'd say in Europe, clearly soccer probably number 1, but basketball is just behind. And so it's a wonderful opportunity to showcase the NBA across the Atlantic.
Yeah. And so what are a trip like this? Is there fear that it interrupts with any momentum, because the Pacers definitely have that on their side right now?
Yeah, I think that's a great point, just because of the travel. They left on Sunday, got in on Monday. So the good news is you don't play until Thursday, and then you've got another game on Saturday. The team will come back on Sunday and then won't play again until Wednesday and Saturday at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. So the NBA aligns the schedule to help your travel. But to your point, I mean, the Pacers have been rolling. You're right, 14-4 over the last 18, 8-1 in the month of January, a lot of momentum. But I think there's a lot of excitement for the players. They got to take a +1. Players were taking their wives, their girlfriends. I saw Benedict Mathurin has his mom with him. So, it's a great opportunity for a lot of these players to see a different part of the world, to experience the Eiffel Tower, all those kinds of things. I saw that a number of the players went to a Champions League soccer match last night. So I think there's a lot of excitement. But I would agree with you. There would be a little bit of a concern how this falls into the schedule. The other thing is, Jim, when the Pacers have done this before, and I've gone to China and Taiwan and Philippines, is those games were preseason games. So the outcome didn't necessarily matter. These are hugely important games for the Pacers, because right now they're in 5th in the Eastern Conference, just a game behind Milwaukee for a top 4 position in the East. So these are very important games.
Absolutely, they are. And it's also an opportunity to not only keep that momentum going, but solidify it, because they've jumped up in the conference standings. Last time I looked, they were like 5th, which is pretty solid, pretty good company, pretty good neighborhood to be living in.
Yeah, when you consider, your top 5 or your top 4 right now are Cleveland, off to a great start. The Pacers have beaten them once this year. You've got Boston. The Pacers have beaten the Celtics. You have the Knicks. The Pacers have beaten the Knicks in a game this year. And then just ahead of them are Milwaukee. So, the Pacers have fared pretty well against those teams above them in the standings. And they'd like to have a chance to move up to 4.
Sounds good, brother. Well, how are things going in beautiful St. Louis?
Well, we did pass Paris, Illinois on our drive.
Did you stop, take a picture, get some?
No, we did not.
Get a beignet. No, not beignet, but what do you have over in France? I forget.
Croissant. Croissant.
Well, croissant, but also there's something else that they're rolled up.
We did stop to get a coffee though in Effingham, Illinois, and of course, all Indiana basketball fans would remember that Uwe Blab played high school basketball in Effingham, Illinois. So we did stop. We did stop at Effingham to get a coffee. I figured that was about the halfway mark.
Well, speaking of Europe, I guess he could have been a co-broadcaster with you and gave you some insight on European ball. But enjoy it, my friend. How long are you there?
We are here through Saturday. We've got the telecast. It's a noon Eastern game on Saturday and 11 a.m. start here in St. Louis. So I'll be home Saturday night.
Look forward to it, brother. Enjoy it and good luck.
All right. Thanks, Jim.
You betcha. Appreciate you very much. That is the great Chris Denari. That's going to wrap it up for us today here on the program. So thankful to have you with us as always, and thankful to all of our guests. But without you, we've got no reason to be here. We're back tomorrow to do it again. And special guest, Tom Allen, on the show tomorrow. Of course, the rest of the normal list, we'll have Bob Kravitz on tomorrow instead of today, and Zach Osterman as well. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.